Hello my fellow builders and welcome to another No Man's Sky guide. Today we're going to shed some light, literally, on an often overlooked aspect of base building, which is lighting. Now if you ever try to light up your base using the endgame lights, you probably noticed something. They don't really do much, do they? These lights might look great, but when it comes to actually lighting up your base, they leave a lot to be desired. And that is because these lights are just decorative. As you can see here, the room around me is filled with various lights, but it still feels, well, pretty dark and uninviting. Even the lamppost, while generating great light, has this weird fog around it and also makes a weird noise which always ruins it a little bit to build inside a house. Now check out this room. Notice how it's evenly lit and how the light bounces off the walls, creating a cozy atmosphere. This is the result of using parts that create ambient lighting. It not only brightens up the entire space, but also highlights my character and whatever you're building in the base, making everything feel more immersive and alive. In today's video, we'll talk about the techniques I used here, starting with how to set ambient lighting for maximum effect, and then we move on to how to use some decorative lights to add detail and style to your build. Now, this guide will be pretty basic, showing a few examples, but it should give you a good idea of what exists in the game and perhaps give you a few ideas to experiment with yourself. So let's jump into it. Alright, let's start by looking at some examples of ambient lighting. I'll show you some of the solutions I like to use in my projects. Now, this guide is completely vanilla, so everything I demonstrate can be done without glitch building. However, that also means that there are going to be some limitations. For example, with this sphere generator, you'll notice that you cannot scale it up or down, and also as shown in the corner of the info screen, you can only build 9 of them per base computer. So if you don't use any glitch building, you will be limited to 9 of these parts. Now let me just place this one here because this is a pretty bright one. You can see if I build it here, it lights up the wall very nicely. It even has a little bit of a white hotspot, which you might not want to have. So what you're probably going to have to do is move your light further like that. So it lights up the area, but it doesn't create that hotspot. Now, again, this is pretty much an eyesore. If you don't want to use it as a central piece of your building, then you might have to look for some different solutions. Now, the next one I like to use is actually the mud hut right here. Now, the advantage of the mud hut, as you can see, this is unlimited, so you don't have any limits to build, and you can scale them down, which also is going to boost the possibility to hide. So if I build it here, for example, you can see it does nicely light up the wall. So you can see this one does do a very nice job in lighting, but it's a very bright spot on the wall, which you might not want. This is much smoother and a little bit more cozy. So this gives you a very nice smooth light. If you just build a few of them, you can actually light up a room pretty nicely. Now, again, as I said, you don't want to show these always. So we'll look into how to get this to look a little bit better. Another one I like to use is actually the candelabra bloom. If you place this one here, you will see it does create a very nice light. Again, you will be able to scale it up and down. Gives you also unlimited building parts. If you notice that as well, if I scale it up, it will boost the light a little bit. You can also see it also will raise the light source. If I go down, you will see the point of origin will drop lower and the radius will go a little bit smaller. It's not that much, but it is important to know. So if I build this here, and I can build a few of them, you can see it does create very white hotspots, which you might want to avoid again. So let's look at a few solutions you can do to just improve this. So let me just take a short wall. We're going to build this short wall below here. Now, as you can see, the swamp hut is we can scale it down until it fits about 2 short walls. This is going to be more. I think this is going to be about 3 short walls. So let's do that as well. Let's do 3 short walls below. And let me just scale this one down until it's on the minimum size. So here we can probably work with a single short wall. Yeah. Now we're going to put some floors below it. So now we can just put one below here. We're going to scale it down. Now, it is daylight, so I'm going to have to wait until it's night again before we see the results. I can also just go into the camera mode in a second. So let me just prepare these and then I'll be back once that is done. All right, let me just go into camera mode and show you the examples during bad darkness. You can see here now we got the swamp hut, the mud hut. You can see this creates a very nice equal color over the walls. It also doesn't really have this white hotspot, so it really creates a very nice color and light. As you can see, I only needed 2 short walls lower below the floor. I could probably go even a little bit lower or a little bit closer. Now, if you're using this, for example, as a double ceiling, then take note that the roots will poke through. So you might not want to have this happening in a house where the roots are poking through your roof. Most of the time, what I like to do is just build this under the ground on terrain, even dig out the terrain a little bit and then fill it up again. And then you don't even think about the roots or whatever. Then we have the sphere generator. Now you can see this gives a very nice warm glow on the wall. But again, it does create this very white hotspot on the floor, which means I could have probably dropped it even a little bit lower, but the hotspot would still have been there. And then we have the candelabra blooms, as you can see below here. They give a very white color on the walls, which is nice if you're looking for a more of a cooler look, or if you want to accentuate like outside some trees or walls or features. This is a really nice way to light it up. Again, take note that it will create a slight hotspot, which is not too bad, but it is definitely something you should be aware of. So these 3 are the ones I like to use a lot during my building. If you like to add some ambience to your build, but also make sure that the whole build is lit up without having these dark corners. So these are really nice ways to light up your base without too much hassle. All right, there's 2 more I like to show you, and I'm sure you will be able to experiment with more of them. And we will be showing some examples of what you can do with the lights we have. But one of them is the holographic globe gadget. It is pretty cool blue. This was something I was learned by Pezes. Used it a lot in his base builds. So if you just build one of those below it, you can see that they will give a very nice cool blue light. Now, once again, take note that you have a limit of 10. So without glitch building, you will not have more than those. And then we have one more that is very cool to use. That is the lantern. And you can place this here, which will give a more like reddish glow on your walls, which then again gives a completely different vibe to your base. So let me just make it dark so you can see a little bit what the effects are. So you can see that these really can make your build feel completely different. I would say the light blue definitely has a bit of an oceanic underwater feel. The red is more like a darker layer place. So as you can see, you don't really need the conventional lights that are available. There's a lot of other parts that will provide you with an atmosphere or a light that can be used to really boost that vibe in your base. And the advantage of all these parts I showed so far is none of these need any power. So you don't need to pull any wires, you don't need to provide any power source. Everything is going to be lit up without the need for that. All right, so now that I talked a bit about the ambient lighting, it's time to shift our focus and look at some specific light options that you can use to make your build look more interesting. If I go to the arch, let's build the arch here, and then we look into furnishing, and we're looking for the robotic arm, this one right here. I'm going to place this robotic arm. We're going to start with scaling it down. And you know what? It might be a good idea to just change the color so it fits a bit more to the material we're using. So this is a stone. This is going to be better to have a little bit of a yellow color. Now I won't be able to do any changes to the texture because it doesn't apply to it. And I think I actually might go for gray. I think it looks better on the stone. Let me scale this down. I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Then we're going to rotate this axis, the orange one, and we're going to rotate it so that it becomes like a hook. Then you can place one here. You can place one here. And now they look a little bit like a hook on the wall. So now we're going to take the lanterns here and then we're going to try to place that lantern by using free placement and just having it float at the height where we want that lantern to be. So I'm going to rotate it a bit and scale it down a bit until I'm sure that this is the size I want to do. And then I'm going to place it. And once I placed it, I'll just check if I'm happy with the height. Now you see it's not on the right distance. So what we're going to do, we're just going to open up our build menu. We're going to select a piece of wooden floor. We're just going to take the small timber panel and we're going to just free place it and then move it underneath the lantern or where I think it should be. Then when I'm happy, I'm just going to place it and snap a few next to it. Snap points are still a very big broken thing. So if it's not able to snap anything, move your camera a little bit higher so you can kind of move away from the snap points. All right, so now I'm going to duplicate that and I think we should be able now to just slide it perfectly on that hook. Like that. Let me remove this. Let me duplicate you. That. Then we can remove the floors. And there you have it, a simple yet highly effective method that looks fantastic. The lanterns hanging from the hooks not only provide excellent lighting, but also enhance the overall decor of your base. Now, let's move on to another quick technique to elevate your building with additional lighting. As you might have noticed in my previous guides, I do like to add a small wall on top of a wall just to get that little vent up there, because it gives a nice detail, but it also allows you to add more things to it, like lights. Now, this technique can be a little bit more finicky because it's sometimes hard to find the center point and do the rotations, especially on controller, it can be a little bit challenging. So what we're going to do, we're going to open up the build menu, we're going to go to the tab of furnishings, and on the bottom, we will find space station designs, and then select frame lighting. All right, I'm going to move my camera a little bit higher so I have a top-down view. I'm going to try to aim my cursor to the center of the floor. You can see the cross section. I want to aim my cursor right in the middle. And then we're going to scale the light down until the legs are about the same thickness as the floor border, so that we can use that to rotate or at least align the light with that floor. Now, if it's not aligned, then you will have to rotate your part a bit. I have to say, I find it more important to have your cursor in the center and then move the rotation until the legs fit. Now, as I said, it can be a little bit finicky, especially on controller, because you have to use the shoulder buttons. But once you're happy with the alignment and once you're happy with the center, you can scale up the light again until the light strip fits perfectly into the vent of that small wall. And that is going to put that light strip perfectly into the vent. It's going to hide the legs so you don't see the legs anymore. And that adds a very nice detail to a otherwise pretty boring wall. Now you can definitely see a big difference between the lights we just used for the lanterns and the space station light. It is definitely much darker. So what you could do is add some ambient light to this. And the way you can do that is just as I showed you before, is just by dropping a piece of floor below it and adding a piece of ambient light to it and then just brighten up that wall. And as you can see, the ambient light has made the arch way more vibrant now without losing too much detail from the light strip we added into the vent. All right, let me show you a few more examples. I think we got 3 more in me. Let's see, I'm going to start with building. I want to use this extruded alloy wall here, but I want to give it more light. As you can see, it's very dark and it doesn't have that much vibrancy. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a short wall. We're going to place 3 short walls on top of each other. That should be about the height of where the window is. See here? That's about the same height. All right, now we're going to look for the, I forget the name of them, the holographic globe gadget. And we're going to be placing a holographic globe gadget here, somewhere on this line. We're going to build one here on this line. And then we're going to go to our light and we're looking for the tube light. We're going to place this tube light here. We're going to rotate it in such a way that it's straight with the wall. Thankfully, the rotation is very reliable, so it takes forever to get this rotated. So I might actually speed this up a little bit. And then we're going to rotate it again. So I'm looking for the orange one so that if I rotate it, it's going to point forward. Something like that. All right, now these are both placed. We can now remove the short walls below it. And it's going to keep the lights in that position. Now I'm going to take this wall and we're going to place it right here. Like that. So now it's going to give this blue glow coming from inside, but also it's going to look like this light is actually lighting up. And that's just because of the tube light. So if I look underneath here, we'll actually see the tube light poking through here, which does give a nice little vibe, an extra detail that nobody will notice, but it does really light up the area much more. And I do like just the hint of the blue, which makes such a big difference if you compare it with what this wall is showing. Another one we can do, similar to this, but just with a different approach, is instead of building 3, we're going to be building 4, and we're going to remove the 3 on the bottom. That is going to allow us to snap things on the bottom here, or place things on the bottom. And one of the things we could place is the pill lights. So if we go to the pill lights here, let's take the red one. We can actually place the pill light on the bottom, rotate it so it fits perfectly along with the wall. And what I'd like to do is make sure that the line of the outer line, I might have to put an arrow on the screen, lines up with the wall like that. See if I can. There we go. So I'm going to place one here. We're going to place another one on here, like this. There you can see we got the 2 red lights. Now I'm playing on creative right now. That means that my lights actually are powered up by the base computer. If you're not using power, what you can do is actually pull a power line from here below your floor. Just make sure that it's pretty straight, and we do another one there. Like that, we just pull it to the center here. And then you can light these up by just connecting them to a power line. And then we can remove this wall now. You can see that my lights are both hanging in the sky without being supported. I can just take this wall, and we're going to hang it over here, and we're just going to place it like that, so that we now have the red lights. So let me just jump into my camera mode again so we can actually see the effect. You can see right now, look at that. This looks so menacing as a door. This looks more like a red alert, or, you know, a base that is on alert or has an alarm going. You can even put some byte beats later and then make the light flicker if you want to do that. That is going to add so much life to your base by just adding those small details of light to your base. And just in case you're wondering if this makes a big difference to put the lights on top or the bottom, I can just put another example here. Let's put some lights on the floor. Just take this wall, we're going to place it on top. So you can see by putting the lights on different positions, you can also change the complete look of your part. You can accentuate a different part. I love the red more on the left because it really puts the stripes of that part into focus, while the other one is a little bit more dim. Also, make sure that if you're building these lights, you can see that you have to make sure that they don't go through. You want them to be a little bit inside the wall, or this is the design you want to go for and you want to add some detail of a light, you can do it like that as well. All right, now for the final design, one that I really enjoyed when I saw it the first time. This was created by a builder named Straight Shooter. Now we'll begin with stacking 2 large walls on top of each other. Then I'm going to take a short wall, I'm going to snap it right here, like that. On top of that short wall, we're going to go and take a alloy floor. We're going to use that alloy floor as a measurement tool. And then below here, we're going to snap a small floor just to be able to see the thickness of the part. So we're just going to take small stone panel and we're going to snap it on the bottom. And the snap points are still really worked. So yeah, hopefully that new tool might actually fix that. Anyway, as you can see here, we got the small floor on the bottom, got the large floor on the top. And then we're going to take our light, and we're looking for the circles hanging lamp. And what we're going to do, we're going to place this hanging lamp on the ceiling, and then we're going to scale it down until the small circle is poking through your floor just a little bit. You can do something like that. All right. So let's say that is about the size I want to go for. I'm going to now place this on the floor. Now, the reason I'm placing this on the floor is because if I duplicate that, it will keep following the surface I am placing it against. If I would have placed it on the ceiling and then duplicate it, it will no longer follow that direction, but it will just be copied because it's placed opposite. So let's delete that. And now we're going to just remove this floor. We're going to duplicate that. And now, oh, wait, but you know what? Before we do that, let me just show the center here. As you can see, there's a center line. in each of these panels. So you can see there's a panel here, there's a center line here, here, and here. And then also you can see there is like a little glitch in the texture where you see like a little bit of a cut right there. So that is the center point of the floor where we're going to have to put that light on. So I'm just going to take the light again. I'm going to duplicate it. And we're going to place it on those center connections. So we're going to place one here. All right, now we're going to go and take our stone floor. We're going to take the small panel because the large panel, if you look at the bottom, has this texture, which is a little bit stony structured. We don't want that. We want the small panels because these look a little bit cleaner. And we're going to be snapping these on the bottom of that wall like that. So we're going to build one there. Build one there. One here. And if I can find a snap point. And now you can see there's like small little spotlights in the floor, which makes such a nice detail. It almost looks like those modern spotlights. So if you're planning on building like a little bit of a modern build, then this is a really good solution to do that because it really adds so much finesse to your building. Now the wall itself is not really lit up, so we can solve that by using the mud hut. I'm going to put 2 short walls on the bottom here, then snap a floor on that, and then we can take the mud hut again and use that to light up the wall. And there we have it. Just look at how this design adds a whole new level of beauty to your build. And that's going to be the final one for today. I want to thank you so much for watching. My goal with these videos is always to spark your creativity, and I hope this gave you some fresh ideas and inspired you to experiment with your own builds. Remember, it's all about taking what you see here and making it your own. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to hit that thumbs up. It really helps the channel and lets me know that you enjoyed the content, and I'll catch you in the next video. This was Beeblebum, happy building, and goodbye for now.